Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into a report from Ares Strategic Income Fund. It's a bit like watching a high wire act where a company borrows a ton of money hoping their investments pay off, but if they slip, things could get wobbly fast. Before we start, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. Let's jump in. Ares Strategic Income Fund just filed a report about a big move they made, borrowing over $1 billion by issuing notes. Notes are basically IOUs that they promise to pay back with interest later. This report tells us when they did this, how much they borrowed, and what they plan to do with the money. In this case, it looks like this happened in June of 2025. The fund decided to borrow a total of $1.1 billion through what's called a private placement. This means they sold these notes to big qualified investors instead of offering them to the general public. They're splitting the borrowing into two parts, $600 million in notes due in 2020 and another $500 million in notes due in 2030. Basically, they need to pay back $600 million by 2030. The first set of notes, the ones for $600 million that are due in 2028, will have an interest rate of 5.000%. This is the percentage they will have to pay on top of the borrowed money. It's the second set, the $500 million due in 2030, will have an interest rate of 5.80%. So that's a little more expensive for them. It looks like the fund will have to mature these notes on September 9 of their respective year. There's a little flexibility built in though. Ares has the option to pay these notes off early, either entirely or in smaller chunks if they choose. This is called redeeming the notes. But if they do this, they might have to pay an extra fee, a make-while premium on top of what they originally borrowed. Now, what are they planning to do with all this borrowed money? They're planning to use this money to pay down debts that they already have. They might also borrow again under their existing credit lines to invest in other companies to grow their portfolio, which fits their investment goals. It's also important to note the forward-looking statements disclaimer. This section is basically the company covering itself. They're saying, hey, we're making plans based on what we know now, but things could change. Don't hold us to these exact predictions. Basically, don't expect this to be an exact roadmap. Now, taking a step back and thinking about the big picture here, Ares Strategic Income Fund is making a pretty big bet. They're taking on a lot of debt, hoping that their investments will generate enough profit to cover the interest payments and eventually pay off the principal. This can be risky. If their investments don't perform as expected, they could find themselves in a tough spot. A key strength for Ares is their experience in managing investments and strategically navigating markets. However, they are dependent on their capacity to make successful investments and manage the risks of potential losses. One of the biggest risks is market volatility. If the economy takes a downturn or interest rates rise, it could make it harder for them to generate returns and manage their debt. This could affect how they pay their debts and also hurt their reputation. In conclusion, Ares Strategic Income Fund is clearly looking for growth. They are taking on a calculated risk by leveraging debt to fund their investment strategy. While their expertise and established position offer advantages, they must navigate potential economic downturns and market fluctuations. This strategy has risks, but they are banking on the returns to outweigh these concerns. Alright, that's our breakdown of Ares Strategic Income Fund's latest filing. What's your take on these moves and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.